What are some of the most secret documents that are known to exist? Thousands of documents from World War II were classified and can only be published after 2045. The letter of last resort. In the UK, one of the first things the Prime Minister does on taking office is write a letter of last resort, to be placed in each of the UK's nuclear submarines, that gives instructions to the captain in the event that the government entirely ceases to exist. When a Prime Minister leaves office, their letters are destroyed without ever being opened. I wonder what they did for the Prime Minister whose term was shorter than a submarine rotation? Scotland Yard's investigation into Jack the Ripper is still sealed to the public. Secret and top secret documents depending on the country in question dealing with key governmental deliberations can be withheld from the public for 25 to 30 years. In the UK, I believe that the King/Queen's personal archives are held back for 100 years. The BBC, Radio 4, used to do a fun series called UK Confidential, which involved installments when new secret documents were released. It was really great. They would interview folks who were still around and part of the action from the time in question, and would use voice actors to read the key documents. They had someone do a dead-on Thatcher, among others. It is cool to hear the deliberations from the time of the events. It is the real inside story. Some of the events are heavy, but some are light and funny. Here is the link. It is worth a listen. I wish every public broadcaster around the world would do something like this. https://www.bbc.co.uk/program/b00xj3rw. Wish Radio 4 would do some more of these. Reminded me of the documentary Three Identical Strangers. 3 adopted triplets were separated and placed in different families as part of a study on nature vs nurture. The families and triples didn't know about this. Their files are in a vault at Yale University and cannot be accessed until 2060. Their lives were orchestrated, yet they cannot access their own files. The film mentioned how their attempts were shut down by powers higher up. It's truly mind-boggling. Makes you wonder how people are able to do this kind of stuff. Turns out, this adoption agency separated more multiples for studies. Some of my favorites are personal notes that people leave for one another at key jobs. It's a known fact that every former president of the United States has left a note in the desk for his successor. Some of those would be very interesting to read. Also, it's not uncommon for bands, athletes or artists to leave notes for each other before or after performances at large venues. It would be cool to see some of those, especially because there has to be some unexpected crossovers. I would like to point out that Christopher Lee's World War II service records are still classified, and the interview with Peter Jackson is probably the most we'll get for a while. Found it, interview, https://udo.be/5tqrrckm6u?si_c9n4_phd8ohxrns. Payroll for U.S. informants abroad. Those documents definitely exist, but the actual contents of them is definitely ultra super duper maximum secret. The Epstein visitor logs. Documents relating to government spy programs, national defense technology, etc. Coca-Cola formula. The letters of last resort. In the UK, their only remaining nuclear weapons platforms are their ballistic missile submarines. When those subs are at sea, they are supposed to be so stealthy that even the Prime Minister doesn't know where they are. As part of the deterrence protocol, which means that no matter what kind of nuclear attack you hit the UK with, they will launch nukes against you no matter the damage you cause. Every PM writes 4 letters of last resort, 1 for each of the 4 submarines, when they become PM. The contents are most secret, but their purpose is to be a final message to the submarines in the event the UK government is wiped out in a surprise attack. My understanding is that if a sub doesn't receive contact from the government at all past a certain amount of time, like 72 to 96 hours I think, then they are to open those letters from the safe. It's been speculated that a number of options to the sub's captain could be laid out, such as \strike your designated targets at once, \assume UK is destroyed, and go to Canada or the US, and place yourselves at their disposal, \use your own judgment on how to proceed, you are now on your own. Whatever is in the letters, they probably also include an override code to let the officers release their nukes without the normal authorization code from the PM's office. The one crypto wallet that has millions of dollars in BTC that's rotting away in a landfill somewhere. John Lennon's FBI file. He claimed that everyone believed he was crazy and that he was being followed in every direction. He was entirely accurate. Nixon was enraged by his potential effect on the nation. Nikola Tesla's documents that were taken away by the FBI after his death. Whatever secrets Scientology keeps. Vatican secret archives. MKUltra and Operation Northwoods. Makes you wonder what other things your crazy, tinfoil behut uncle was right about. The MI6 HQ building report, or more precisely the budget report covering the costs of the custom construction that has been largely concealed. It's frustrating since it's only partially complete. For example, a significant amount of money was spent on a necessary MI6 tool that was integrated into the structure and advanced technologically for the time. What is the matter? Although it's still classified, you can see the price and a list of items that weren't included because they are listed separately. According to the 2004 documentary National Treasure, there's something pretty important written on the back of the Declaration of Independence. I bet the Vatican has some insane stuff in its archives. Like alternative Bible stuff and old church writings. Maybe some originals or something. Probably the Bush's baked beans recipe or the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices. Human intelligence source info. They leak, people will die. Painfully. The embarrassing snapshot of SpongeBob at the Christmas party. The CIA write-up on the Kennedy op. The blueprints for creation of specific nuclear warheads. I can't tell you where they hide them though unless I want to accidentally shoot myself 6 times in the back of the head. The US government's workup, on each of us in the world. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/utah_data_center. There are 2 unconcealed CIA projects that have haunted me ever since I've read about them. What makes these projects extra scary is the suspicion that they went much deeper than what was released/exposed. Project Artichoke, https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/project_artichoke. Project MKUltra, https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/mkultra. The dossier detailing when Cotton Eye Joe came from and his current location. The Dune 7 notes and outlines. Frank Herbert's notes for his next planned book concluding his Dune saga were found by his son Brian after his death on some floppy disks. They were used by Brian and Kevin J. Anderson for the sequel novels Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune, but the notes have never been released to the public. This means that fans are unsure how close those new books are to Frank's original plans and has even led to conspiracy theories. See here, https://tau.solaHPMO.com/view-top-ic.php?t=1263, or here, https://tau.solaHPMO.com/view-top-ic.php?t=1407, that the notes don't exist, an idea which is widespread, but unlikely. https://www.reddit.com/r/dune/comments/lvxddf/the_notes_r_real. Hold on. Let me look here, next to this golden toilet. KFC and Coca-Cola recipes I heard are extremely well protected. Mormon, Vatican and Church of Scientology also have archives that are very well protected. We know they all exist, it's just like only a very few number of people have access. After reading through these comments, I thought about George Carlin, who took notes after every show. Maybe his daughter will consider releasing them someday. Turns out Cleveland is okay. New York not so much. Just guessing. Not exactly a document, but one of the most highly sensitive individual pieces of information in the world is the private key used to sign the DNS root zone. https://www.cloudflare.com/dnss/root-signing-ceremony. There are only 2 copies of this key, which are held in highly secure facilities controlled by ICANN. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/ICANN. Whenever one of these keys, or one of several similarly sensitive ones, needs to be accessed, which happens a few times per year, a highly elaborate and scripted procedure known as a key ceremony, https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/key_ceremony number sign root_key_signing_ceremony, is carried out. These are even streamed live on the internet, https://www.youtube.com/@iana-org, to allow for maximum public transparency during the process. The college playoff process. Pentagon Papers grinning face. Krabby Patty formula. Santa's nice list. Hint, I'm on it twice. The most secret document is probably the by the government. It covers some pretty heavy shit, ranging from end to penguins end. It has serious ramifications for world governments going into the future, as it and penguins, which, it's a real shame I cannot tell you about it, it would blow your mind. The text of the final undeciphered portion of cryptos, https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/cryptos. The wills for the senior members of the British royal family.